Hi, you're here with L.S. Jones, and I'm watching the beat shine. I heard hip-hop when I was around 10 years old. I remember the movie Crush Groove and just falling in love with hip-hop and breakdancing. And from that, it just took off. I like the beats, I like the rhymes. I'm a true hip-hop head. Growing up, when I would be home, me and my brother, he would do the beatbox on the table, and I would, come up with what I call whack rhymes, but we would, try to make rhythmatic rhymes, and we would copy off of what we saw. So I was just a fan, all in all, through and through. For me, I'm a writer, and, it's a form of art. So it's similar to hip-hop. I wrote poetry. So that's why I was in tune with what the hip-hop artists were speaking about, because I was a poetry writer, and that transformed into books. So right now, I'm a writer. I write books. I write novels. I like all writers, and I like all poets, because I think that they are the windows that open up our mind. So I'm not a fan of one in particular, but I'm a fan of all. But so they all influence me, and I don't give one credit over the other. And even the new artists that come out, I just read everything. I find poetry in everything. Poetry in motion, poetry in books, poetry in rhyme, just poetry. What I started doing was I started speaking at schools, and I started exposing, the youth to, spoken word and expressing their voice and not allowing anyone to silence their voice. And that's when I opened my foundation, Fuse for Young Women, which it mentors young women 14 to 20, and it's something that I do currently. One of the greatest challenge was getting over the pitfall of accepting my past as a gateway to my future. My book is titled The Queen Pen's Daughter. My mother was a real queen pen, and although I wasn't a queen pen, I was somehow caught up into the mix of that title. And it was a stumbling block for me for a long time. And then I realized that I am my own individual person. We all make mistakes, speaking of my mother or anyone else, and that we shouldn't focus on the mistakes, but what we do going forward. My mother was very upset about my first published novel, The Queen Pen's Daughter. So if I didn't put that work out, she would have been fine. But she's past that phase. She just, So my family, separate and aside from my mother, they're very supportive of everything that I do. I am so proud that I'm able to touch the lives of young women that are struggling in the communities. It's just the greatest gift ever to walk into a room and say, hey, I'm L.S. Jones, I'm an author, and to get their attention. The author thing is just, that's the notoriety, that gets their attention. And then we get down to business, which is the healing process. I hope that people will know that I represent the product of healing. I want people to look at me and know that second chances, we all have a second chance, and we all must get past our pitfalls, and we all must place an expiration date on blame and get to the business of living. So I want people to know that I represent living now.